Okay, I got the camera started a little bit late, guys. I had some drama with my what do you call it? I don't even know what the frick they're called. The person who does my bookings for my hotels and stuff. It's like, yo, they crazy booking me in some like just insane places, man. It's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, they're nice, but it's like, yo, what are you doing? It's like, our job as construction managers is to get the job done as quickly, efficiently, cheaply, and safely as possible. That's the foundation of our job. Like, you booking me like hotels that are like, you know, Ritz-Carlton or whatever, or I don't know, just crazy, insane priced places. It's like, imagine that. I'm complaining about the price of hotels. I mean, I ain't got to pay for the stuff, but it's just like, you know, this is my project, and these costs run over my project. So now my project looks like it's just stupid expensive because you booking me like ridiculous hotels. Are you okay? Insanity, man. And I'm not talking like, yo, who the hell goes to a construction site and stays in hotels at these prices for 4 days? Because Friday I check out. So Friday morning I take all my stuff with me. I don't come back to the hotel. I check out. It's 4 days, and we're paying prices like, are you all right in your head? Anyway, I'm really annoyed because it's like, you know, you look crazy. You know what I mean? It looks like, oh man, you just trying to, you know, flex and floss at the company's expense. We give you a car, this, that, the other. We take care of all these costs, and then you start booking the most expensive hotels around. I didn't even ask for that. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, man? I just asked you to book me a place, and then you, what the hell are you doing? You don't understand how this works? So I had to call like the project manager and the project lead, and I was like, hey, look, man, I was like, this right here wasn't my idea. I was like, and I find it actually a bit excessive. And so he's like, yeah, come. He's like, this is it. He actually said it himself. He said, this is insane. I said, I even sent options. I sent options for like places to stay because I have my specific, you know, requests and requirements. And I was like, all my options were like less than half of this. I'm like, less than half. Like, how the heck is this even a thing? I was like, how do you, after the options I give you, how do you end up at these prices? Man, you know, man, I don't know what's wrong with people, man. I mean, I get it, they ain't our money, but dang, treat it like it is, you know what I mean? Because you go around burning money. This is how people end up jobless, you know? You get a whole company full of people acting like this, and you just burn through budgets and everything, and then one day the company's like, oh, we don't have any more money, and we gotta let people go. If everybody starts acting like this, all it takes is one person, because, like, we've got enough project managers. You know, we're on big projects here. So now, if every project manager's like, oh, well, look, Craig's the new guy, look at the places he's staying at, I'm gonna book that too, then everybody starts doing it, you know what I mean? Really makes me mad, man. And what makes me mad is I give you options, like, and you do this. It's like, why? What? Man, I don't know, bro. There's things I want to say, but you know, whatever. So, what do you guys say we listen to a Bruce after my rant here? I was so annoyed and so irritated, man. I forgot to turn on the camera. It was cool anyway. I need to make phone calls and stuff about this. So I was on the hands-free, you know, on the phone, like, yo, talking to the boss, like, yo, man, like, where do you find these people? If I worked like these people work, you'd fire me. You'd be like, yo, Craig, you can't be spending money like this on construction projects, just burning cash. And this is their job. So it's not my job to go looking for hotels. I found hotels though, but it's not my job. So I'm like, you know, I'm tired of looking for hotels because it's a lot of work. I'm like, this is your job. You're supposed to be good at it. This is all you do because you've got because our construction team is only off-site construction. We don't, you know, headquarters in one spot and then we just all work somewhere else. So you don't have anything else to do. That's your job. It's like multiple sites. You do this regularly. This is the best you come up with. And I offered you better options. How do you get this wrong? Of course, there's a gender that did this. I'm not gonna make it a gender issue, but it is a gender issue. It's like, you wouldn't, let me just say, project managers, the men I know as project managers wouldn't make mistakes like this. But, hey. It's ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely just, oh yeah, I want to put it through, so I'm so annoyed. To make me look bad, driving my project prices up, like, making my project look like it's like we're just burning cash for sport. Excuse me if I'm slightly offended. Durus, Craig, Durus, find it. Just relax, man. Really just annoying me.
And cling on to this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Sheikh Salih Fawzan, hafidhullah ta'ala, when he was questioned regarding the trials and the tribulations and the mashakil that we are having in the world today. And then he said, Ma dam al-kitab wa sunnah bayna aydina. As long as the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is amongst us and is present, then we will have success. And that is a makhraj. That is where we can turn back to. So while that Quran, while the sunnah is present amongst us, then let's use that wahi, let's use that revelation, that pure form of guidance that guides the hearts, that cures the hearts. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq in that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. أقول قولي هذا استغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. قال الله عز وجل تريدون عرض الدنيا والله يريد الآخرة. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran that you desire and want the life of this world, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for you the hereafter. Hassan al-Basri rahimullah, when he heard this verse, listen to what he said. He said, rahimullah imra'an arada ma arada Allah azza wa jal. That may Allah have mercy upon the person that intends and wants what Allah wants. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants for us the hereafter. Likewise, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimullah, he says أعظم الربح في الدنيا, that he says that the greatest profit that a person can have in this world, أن تشتغل نفسك كل وقت بما هو أولى بها وأنفع لها. He said rahimullah that the greatest form of, or the greatest profit that a person can take in this dunya is that he busies himself with that which is beneficial and supportive to his soul. That is from the greatest profit, the best tijara that there is, that you use this dunya and you take the good from it in order to help you in your akhirah. Then he went on to say, كيف يكون عاقلا من باع الجنة بما فيها بشهوة ساعة. He said, how can a person claim to have sanity or intellect, the one that sells out his hereafter for mere moments of pleasure? How can you say that you are aqil, a person of intelligence, when you are selling out your akhirah, which is eternal, never ending, for moments of pleasure? So finally, my brothers, know, as Ibn al-Qayyim he said, إذاعة الوقت أشد من الموت. Ibn al-Qayyim, he says that wasting time, letting time passing you, not benefiting from your time, he said it is far severe than death. It is more severe than death. And then he explained, لأن إضاعة الوقت تقطعك عن الله والدار الآخرة. Wasting time, it cuts you off from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it cuts you off from the hereafter. وأما الموت تقطعك عن الدنيا والأهلها. But as for death, it merely cuts you off from this world and its people. But wasting time is more severe because it takes you away from Allah and the Akhirah. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, the mighty and majestic, that He gives us tawfiq, that we may be able to increase in goodness in our time and take the example of the Salaf. As Hamad ibn Salama, he died while he was in prostration, and it was said regarding him that if he was told that he would die tomorrow, or if he would be dying at a certain time, then he would not be able to increase in his righteous actions and in the good that he was doing. To show you how they gave importance to time. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us thabat and to give us steadfastness upon this haqq. Ameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. أقول قولي هذا استغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. أقيموا الصلاة يرحمكم الله.
الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له.
So this is called be
إقرارا به وتوحيدا.
upon the decree of
وأشهد
Allah
أن محمدا عبده ورسوله
by Sheikh Hassan
صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما مزيدا. أما بعد. So the title of our brief talk today is being patient upon the decree of Allah. Being patient upon the decree of Allah. And being patient upon the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is part of Iman. It is part of faith. من الإيمان بالله الصبر على أقدار الله. Part of faith is to be patient upon the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the proof of this is that Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله. No calamity befalls you but by the permission of Allah, according to the divine decree of Allah, according to the divine preordainment of Allah. ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله. No calamity befalls you, regardless of what it is, regardless how difficult it may be, or regardless of how easy it may appear. إلا بإذن الله, except by the permission of Allah. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَمَنْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And whoever believes in Allah, Allah Azza wa Jalla will guide their heart. And Allah is the all-knowing. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the all-knower of everything. If we were to analyze and ponder over this verse, ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله ومن يؤمن بالله يهدي قلبه والله بكل شيء عليم. And we look at the explanation of the Imams of the Salaf, the Imams of the religion of the scholars of Islam, they say that this verse is referring to a man who الرجل تصيبه المصيبة, a man or a woman who is afflicted and tried with a calamity. فَيَعْلَمُ أَنَّهَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. And they are certain, they know that this has come from Allah Azza wa Jalla. They know that Allah Azza wa Jalla Tabaraka wa Ta'ala decreed this for them. فَيَرْضَى وَيُسَلِّمُ. And they are pleased with it, and they submit, and they surrender. They are patient. Because we know, as it relates to being patient, Barakallahu feekum, being patient upon the decree of Allah Azza wa Jalla Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, then there are three types of people. The one, billah, and we seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is annoyed at the decree of Allah. And with regard to this type of person, the one who is annoyed with the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, then as some of Ahl al-Ilm mentioned that this being annoyed at the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, it led some people to disbelief. And Allah Azza wa Jal protect us from that. And if we look at the verse, there is a proof in the Quran for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. Among mankind is he who worships Allah as if he was on an edge, meaning upon doubt, على شك. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلى حَرْفٍ. From mankind is he who worships Allah as if he were upon the edge of a cliff, the edge of a mountain, meaning upon doubt. فَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ اطْمَأَنَّ بِهِ. If good befalls him or her, then they are content with it. They're happy, they're pleased. If they attain something of the dunya, some luxury of this worldly life, enjoyment of this worldly life, then they are pleased with it. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ فِتْنَةٌ انقلب على وجهه خسر الدنيا والآخرة ذلك هو الخسران المبين. However, if a trial, a calamity befalls him or her, if they are tested, meaning with some difficulty in life, and we are all going to be tested in some way or form, but if a trial befalls him or her, then they turn back on their face and they lose out on both this world and the hereafter, and that is clear, evident loss. And if we were to look, brothers and sisters, in Al-Bukhari, there is an explanation for this verse by the expert in explaining the Quran, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. Ibn Abbas, he said, explaining the saying of Allah Azza wa Jal, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ فَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ اطْمَأَنَّ بِهِ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ فِتْنَةٌ انقلب على وجهه خسر الدنيا والآخرة ذلك هو الخسران المبين. And among mankind is he who worships Allah as if he were upon an edge, upon doubt. If good befalls him, he is content. But if a calamity befalls him, he turns back on his face and he reverts back to disbelief. Ibn Abbas, he said, كان الرجل يقدم المدينة. A man would come to Al-Madinah, meaning the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فيسلم. A man would come to Al-Madinah and they would accept Al-Islam. فإن ولدت امرأته غلاما ونتجت خيله قال هذا دين صالح. The man would come to Al-Madinah, accept Al-Islam, and if his wife gave birth to a child, to a son, and his mares produced offspring, his horses, he would say, this religion, Islam, is a good religion. Look, this individual prospered. However, if Allah tested them and tried them, Ibn Abbas, he said, وَإِن لَمْ تَلِدْ امْرَأَتُهُ وَلَمْ تُنْتَجْ خَيْلُهُ قَالَ هَذَا الدِّينُ سُوءٌ. But if his wife did not give birth to a boy, and his male did not produce any offspring, then the individual would say this religion is a bad religion. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Look, it led them, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, to disbelief. It led them to apostate and leave the religion of Islam. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, look what He said about them. He said, خَسِرَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. They achieve nothing in this world because they will never taste happiness, they will never be content, and they lose out on the hereafter, because the one who dies upon disbelief, the one who dies upon kufr, will go to the hellfire forever. And Allah Azza wa Jalla protects us all from that. And Allah said, ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْخُسْرَانُ الْمُبِينُ. And that is evident, it is a clear loss. They are annoyed with the decree of Allah, they despise the decree of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And as we said, this could lead a person to disbelief, as we gave the example. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect us all from that. The second group of people are those who are patient with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are patient with the decree of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Meaning what? They feel that this is something that is difficult and burdensome for them, but they endure it and they are patient with it because they know that Allah Azza wa Jalla has decreed it for them and they cannot escape it. And as we know, brothers and sisters, if something was to befall you, it was never meant to miss you. And if it missed you, it was never meant to befall you. And the proof of that, alhamdulillah, are the virtues of being patient with the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, subhanahu wa ta'ala, being patient with the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in Surah Al-Baqarah, highlighting to us the importance of this matter, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And certainly we shall test you with something of fear, hunger, loss of wealth, lives, and fruits, but give glad tidings to those who are patient. Give glad tidings to those who are patient upon the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal. They are patient with whatever Allah decrees for them, because they know being patient upon the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal is a way for them to achieve happiness in this world and happiness in the akhirah. And it is a way for them to be guided by Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah said, the patient, Allah said, when they are afflicted with a difficulty or a calamity, a test, they say, truly to Allah we belong, and truly to Allah we shall return. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. And they are those upon whom are blessings. They receive blessings from their Lord, and they receive mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is they who are guided. The highest level as it relates to being patient upon the decree of Allah Azza wa Jalla is al-rida, being actually pleased with it. Being actually pleased with it and happy with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for you. And this, no doubt, is the highest of levels, that an individual may be tested and tried in this world, and regardless of what test they meet along their journey to the hereafter, they are actually pleased with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts in front of them. And they are happy and they are content with it. And we have, brothers and sisters, if somebody wants to see an example of that demonstrated in lives of actual human beings, then read the story of the prophets and the messengers. Read the stories of the prophets and the messengers. Read the story of Ayub. Read the biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The biography of Ibrahim. The stories of the prophets and the messengers. And even after the prophets and the messengers, the companions, that this is exemplified in their lives. To the extent that some of the female companions, it was authentically transmitted about them,
is it right
that they lost a child.
Or is he turning?
And we all know how painful it is for a parent, especially a mother, to lose her child. And even when faced with that, they continue to obey Allah Azza wa Jal, and they continue in the way Allah Azza wa Jal subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them and instructed them. And they behaved when they met their husband, and that maybe is another talk for a future date. And when their husband returned home, it was like nothing had happened. Why? Because that is a level of what? An individual being pleased with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll stop there because I only intended a brief and short talk. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give us the best in this world and the best in the akhirah, the hereafter, and protect us from the punishment of the fire. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem.
I'll try and be patient with this situation at my job. It really made me upset, I ain't gonna lie. You know, I'm the new guy, man, and you come along and do stuff like this, you know, it's just really, it's not a good look. You know what I mean?
of Samarkand.
You know, imagine someone says, hey, you know, here's some money, you could spend it, you know, you know, don't be crazy with it, you know. And then someone starts spending the money crazy on your behalf, you know. It's like, come on, man. And then, but it always comes back to you. It may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility, you know what I mean? So it's the position I'm in. It's very just annoying. I'll try and be patient. Since I just listened to that, I'll try and take the advice. But Allahu Akbar. I'm not going to let it stand, but if it flies, then it flies. So let's see what happens, inshallah.